Okay, we're back with another video, and we have three topics to talk about. According to to a Microsoft Insider, the Xbox has never been profitable. Something we've been saying for years and years and years and years and years, and no one seems to be listening. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description field, and I'll give my thoughts about that. After the cut. Alright, so the link is in the description field. Basically, it's like we've been saying for years. Microsoft has not made any money on the Xbox. Basically, because they've rolled various other, they've rolled the Xbox division under digital. They're rolling the Xbox division under digital software or something like that. Basically, they're saying that now their digital software is being profitable or some garbage like that. Basically, they're using clever tricks to make it sound like, it's not that bad, but it really is, because I mean, the Xbox division has not been profitable. It continues to not be profitable. And even if Microsoft says that they're making money off of their gaming division, it's probably not due to the Xbox. What's probably making them money is probably Minecraft, and probably people who are dumb enough to pay for, I don't know, Xbox 360. I mean, Xbox One stuff. So yeah, when people want to get shafted, there you go, Microsoft. How do I feel about that? I don't know how to feel about it. I don't feel sad about it, but I mean, I feel somewhat vindicated, because we've been saying this for years, and everyone's like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you just don't get it. You just hating on Microsoft." No, I'm not. I'm simply saying a fact. Why would you have something that basically is not making you money and continue to support it? And don't tell me it's brand recognition, because I mean, brand recognition can only take you so far. Like, IBM used to be known for making really good PCs. They were like top of the line personal computers, but people don't say that anymore, because there's other, they eventually were losing so much money on their PCs that they couldn't do it anymore, right? I mean, that's just, now Microsoft isn't at that point, because the money that they've lost off the Xbox division, I'm sorry, the Xbox division only accounts for less than 1% of the revenue generated by Microsoft. That doesn't mean it's profitable, okay? Revenue generated does not equal profit. For example, if I owned a, AAA business, and my revenue generated was $125 million that year, but I spent $200 million, I still am losing money. You understand? Revenue generated does not equal profit. Revenue generated just means you're moving a lot of money, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing well. I mean, let's look at a practical example of that. Netflix. Netflix is carrying $20 billion in debt. Yikes. Yeah. But they also generate a lot of revenue. But, people who own Netflix stock aren't really worried about it at this point, because Netflix does generate a lot of revenue. And, they have a virtual monopoly on a lot of stuff. I know people are going to say, what about Hulu, all that other stuff? But really, I mean, Netflix has a friggin' monopoly, which is really interesting. So it's in their interest to essentially maintain that monopoly. And, I give it to them because, Netflix has some stuff that's really, really interesting and useful to, Netflix is a one-stop shop. Basically, you spend $10 and you get access to, thousands of hours of digital media, both TV shows and movies, which is, I guess, $10 is the sweet spot. So with that being said, that's all I'm saying. We've been saying this for years. Myself, Dr. Feelgood, Triple M, Liger from Induo. We've all been saying Microsoft is the Xbox does not make a lot of money for Microsoft. So, and as of late, Nadal, the new CEO of Microsoft, he basically cut the purse strings of the Xbox division. So even if they tell you, oh yeah, we're making so much money, he probably cut a lot of the overhead. But in order for you to make money off of a console, you have to support it. If you aren't supporting it, you're not making money off of it. And the Xbox really does not have a lot of first-party games. Microsoft is putting a lot of games on PC, but I don't think that's really going to solve the problem. So, with that being said, let's move on to our second topic, which is an interesting one. It's going to be about how pardon me. It's going to be about how Capcom is releasing another port, because of course they are. So this next one is just, right now it's a rumor, but I mean, at this point, the way Capcom has been releasing ports and ports and ports, it makes perfect sense. And the rumor is that Capcom is going to release a port of Okami HD to the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, it's like they won't learn their lesson. Now, they released Okami to the Xbox One, to the PS3, and it flopped. When they released it originally on the PS2, it flopped. As a matter of fact, the only time Okami has been profitable was when it was put on the Nintendo platform with the Wii port. And Okami was profitable because the development costs weren't that high. So basically, Capcom is going to the well a third time, putting this console on, giving it to an audience that doesn't want that type of game, yet again. And, they'd do better putting this game on PC because, PC gamers have shown that they'll buy cutesy games like that, but it's Capcom. What can we say? Now, we've seen Capcom do this numerous times, so I'm not really surprised at this point. What can I say except, Capcom loves to fuck up. That's all I can really say. They love fucking up. They do it all the time. So with that being said, let's move on to our final topic, which will talk about another thing in the industry that seems to be not being discussed, which is basically the industry, people thinking that the 3DS is going to be replaced by the Switch. I'm going to give you my reasons why I don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to be interesting after the cut. Alright, this is Mr. Red Fox here with another, and it's been a while since I've talked about this, so I'm just going to say it. People keep on saying that the Switch is going to replace the 3DS. No, it isn't. I'll tell you why. Or the Switch is going to replace Nintendo's handheld. And I'll tell you why it isn't. Because even though development for the Switch isn't as expensive as other consoles, it's still not necessarily cheap. And so, the Switch is $299. Okay, that's a nice. I mean, that's a good price. It's the sweet spot really, for a console. But no one in their right mind would pay $299 for a handheld. Even if you were getting, you know, consoles level games in handheld form. Plus, there's certain games that like you really don't want to play on a console. Like I wouldn't want to play a Tetris game on a console. I mean, there are Tetris games on a console, but Tetris to me is more of a it's more of a game that's meant to be played mostly on a handheld. Same thing with Pokemon, and I know what some people are going to say. Well, isn't the Switch a handheld? In my opinion, it isn't. The Switch is a home console that is portable. I don't consider it in my mind to be a handheld. Like I wouldn't consider. I don't. In my head, the Switch isn't the same as say a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color or a Game Boy Advance. Those are two different types of gaming experiences. And I really don't like the two mixing. Like if I'm going to play a traditional Pokemon game, I'm going to play that on a handheld. Now, if you give me something on a home console, I want a different experience than just what I would get on a handheld just with prettier graphics. Like that's not going to do it for me. Same thing with Fire Emblem. Like if you're giving me a Fire Emblem on the way Fire Emblem is now, if you're giving me a Fire Emblem on a handheld, I need to be able to play a Fire Emblem, on a console. It needs to be different than what I'm getting on a handheld. So if you're giving me a Fire Emblem on a console, like if they make a Fire Emblem for the Switch, I would want it to be vastly different from what you would get on the home console, or at least different enough that it doesn't feel like it's just a shitty port from the handheld. So what I mean by that is, if Nintendo said, "Hey guys, we're making a Fire Emblem game for the Switch," I would want it to be, I don't know, different from what we're getting on the other console. I would want something a little bit different than what we'd be getting on the handheld. For example, and I think that there's a lot of gamers who have that feeling. Plus, I mean, you don't like. I understand Nintendo's at the point now where they're like, hey, they're having supply issues with the Switch and all that type of stuff, but it doesn't make sense for them to basically cut out at this point 70 million market to focus on a 6 million market. When they could grow the Switch to 60 million and continue to support the 3DS for another year or two, then come out with another handheld that is, similar in price to maybe the new 2DS, but can play 3DS games, and plus whatever new medium they want to use, and maybe same cart size, and then grow that. I mean, basically have that kind of thing. Now I know what some people are going to say. Well, what about the cost? Well, that's the thing. Games for handheld are cheaper to develop So basically, I mean, Nintendo puts their AAA games, or AAA for Nintendo, on the Switch, and then they put more budget games on their handheld. And I mean, that's what they've always done. There's really no reason to change that. It's always good to have that level of security when it comes to this console. But I know some people are going to get mad and say, well, you know, they need to kill off the Switch. No, they don't. I've said this before. There is absolutely no reason to kill off the Switch as it is right now. Or kill off the 3DS, not the Switch. There's no reason to kill it off. It's a good console. It's not perfect, but it's a good handheld. They should keep it. They should continue to support it, and then come up with its successor. I don't think, I've said this before, I do not think Nintendo needs to, I don't think that Nintendo needs to roll their handheld division into their console division. What I mean is put everything on the Switch. And I know what some people are going to say, but isn't it, it's cheaper for them to support one hybrid console than it is for one handheld console than a handheld and a home console. And you're right on that, but in business you want to have multiple streams of revenue, because, you know, if something catastrophic happens, they're basically kind of, I mean, they're not fucked because Nintendo has a lot of money, but you get what I'm saying? But, I mean, it's always good to have some type of to have multiple streams of it's always good to have multiple streams of revenue, so if something goes wrong, you have something to fall back on. And Nintendo has always had that with their handhelds. So it makes sense for them to continue to have that now, where they have basically, you know, to have multiple revenue streams. And I know what some people are going to say, well, they can just go to mobile and use mobile as their handheld space. No. Mobile is too much out of their control, and mobile is very finicky. For example, I got Miitomo, I got Fire Emblem Heroes. Ask me if I'm playing that shit now. Answer, I am not. Want to know why? Because I don't give a shit. Don't care. It was hot for a while, and then I got off of it. And I think that's a lot of people with a lot of those games. So I think that dedicated handheld, they get the money and they go, and that's the end of it. And I think Nintendo needs to maintain that. So with that being said, that's the end of this video. The last segment will be right after this. We'll be doing upcoming announcements, blah, 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 after the cut. Alright, so it's time to get to the upcoming events, and then we can wrap this thing up. Basically, upcoming events are pretty simple. We're going to be going over some things that were scheduled for this week due to not being able to get a panel together for it. I'll be doing it at another time. It's been moved to this week, same time, but same time, same days, just this week instead of last week. So this Saturday I'll be doing the Sci-Fi Power Hour will be going off. We'll be talking about Star Trek, and the week after that, that Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be doing the BS Busters, talking about people who can kiss my ass. Peace!